dear friend of mine knew that I just went on a ship voyage, and we used to play a game together in college called the Andrea Doria. I don't know where we got the idea for that, but when they make movies about disasters on the sea, they always make it about the Titanic. And I don't know if you know anything about the Andrea Doria, but we're all people that go to the Café Trieste. And in point of fact, in Trieste, Italy, was the office, where the Andrea Doria and the ships of that Italian-American line were designed. Right. That's where the interior architecture was evolved, the design. Because I saw an exhibit in Trieste of the civic history and the public spaces and stuff in Trieste, the history of the morphology of the city, and the big stadium there, the big outdoor, it's like on the coast, on the water. They had like this big arena, and they had put it all in there. So I thought it would be good to start off with this, in deference to the woman that commissioned the poem, but she's not even here, my dear friend Lorraine, anyway, of the Andrea Doria. And I also sailed on the Andrea Doria, said the silver-haired passenger, which is now on the bottom of the sea. I knew enough to answer nothing, and left him a lengthy pause in respect of the engulfing ocean, which punctuated that vessel's gray and gold trajectory with the stillborn fate of most declarations of love. And that is the silence that stands for nearly all of us, the quite possible vanishing that doubles a ship on its way. It may be that oblivion is the hemp we are verbally made of, for as sure as the Andrea Doria, we will all be mentioned and remembered less and less and less. The Andrea Doria crashed into the Stockholm on the Atlantic Ocean. Do you all know the history? It was in the 1950s. Right. And the Stockholm survived. It had its prow bashed in, right, but it made it back to New York, and the Andrea Doria sank. So a lot of the passengers... What?
Often in China.
Yes. So it wasn't, so far from land. And a lot of the passengers from the Andrea Doria were escorted over
to Nantucket.
Or to the Stockholm.
Yeah, the whole Seinfeld on it.
Yeah.
All right. So now, this is a little poem. I was in Canterbury, England, a few years ago, and so this is a poem of place. It's called Canterbury. Original. So this is Canterbury, which shows considerable respect for my prevision of it. Now I can say that I crossed a bridge of dreams. I have been so deep in the death of my heart that the city seems presented to me inside the muted surround of a pale gray crystal paperweight, permeable in some way to the scattered ones who approach from afar. My tardiness is forgiven, and I am ushered in. Because I went to High Mass there, and the boys' choir was singing like Victoria, like I never heard it sung. Holy shit. And have you ever seen that phenomenon, the boys' choir in England? Like the choir master does grimaces with his throat and face to get them to go higher or lower. It's amazing. Dominic told me the other day that he's from Albany. And I used to pass through Albany on my way to Vermont when I was little. And the Albany area. And so I'm giving you the clue to the poem. I mean, it's called Troy. Yeah, it's just about the sadness of going through a dying urban area in the middle of the night. Like, Troy, Sometimes the ailing or sedated speak in the stop-and-go pattern of a road trip through moribund cities at night. It is a syntax of isolated fragments, suggesting the sparse illumination of depressive townscapes remaining in thought, as where street lamps intermittently unconcealed derelict porches, storefronts, and remains of snowdrifts streak with soot. And if my memory is really persistently mine, then I must continue to survive its retention of all the miseries I have seen of a dying transitive land. Those I call Troy, which roughly means the depth of sorrow that has lost forever the will to explain or tell of itself. This poem, I'll read this if you have time. This one's shorter and nicer. On the skunk train. The skunk train, does everybody know where it is?
No.
It's up in near Mendocino, like it goes to Willits and Ukiah. Where's the town it starts from? Like the one near Mendocino?
Fort Bragg?
Fort Bragg.
Right.
Okay, so it goes from Fort Bragg inland. Okay. On the skunk train, with a quarter turn of the head, I witnessed the truth of what Saint-Exupéry once wrote, that love entails not staring into one another's eyes, but looking rather in the same direction, like the family of three facing forward in changing forest light, who might not even have known that I took a picture of them. This one, what I wrote was